Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and in this video I thought I'd do something way different that I've never done before. So in here I have a Google Doc titled Skullgirls Mobile ReTuned, and this is basically ideas from Awsome, which is a community member in Discord. You can find them there, and they have like a really neat ideas of like certain variants that are buffed or nerfed to fit into the current meta game. We know that there's a lot of changes that's gonna appear from the developers in prize fights and daily events and whatnot, but we don't actually know whether we're gonna get any balance update because it has been a while since our last one. But I thought I'd just jump in here first to talk about the first two characters that is in this list, which is Squigly variants and Beowulf variants. Okay, so let's just dive right in. You know your type. Screwing the player over because they were doing combos, or killing them with recoil, or taking them down with you after your death, or block whoring until you decide it's time to screw them over. Or you're the one who basically makes the game entirely a big fat joke with buff removals, reducing enemy meter to absurd degrees, or being Deus Ex Machina the character. These are the variants who represent that this game will make you throw your phone right to the wall or curse at their way too much of an ability. Welcome my fellow gamers. This file, while obviously not official way to bounce fighters, I thought of making majority of infamous attackers and defenders, bring them down to earth while keeping the game balanced. Without further ado, let's get it on. Okay, so this is again just an idea, like a fun thing, like this is not confirmed or anything. This is someone's thoughts and ideas on how to change a variant into something better, or you know, if it's overpowered, nerf it a bit. So the first one we have is Dead Heat, and okay, the old signature ability is listed here. Blockbusters and special moves become unblockable while below 25% health, and if your opponent has a fully charged blockbuster and you do not, gain 3% blockbuster meter per second. So here's my personal thoughts on Dead Heat. She's supposed to be offensive, I guess, because of the fire, but because of her first signature ability requiring her to be below 25% health, which is basically near death, she's kind of a defender that could do some unblockable blockbuster and special move, which can be dangerous. So the problem with Dead Heat is that her attack is really low. Actually, all Squigglies generally have low attack. If you look at the Squigglies that are known to be like great offensive powerhouses, they either have ways to ignore their attack stat, for example Bioexorcist with her Drain ability and Gangrene with her Miasma, even Thrill Streaker as well. Those three variants, you can still kill enemies even with like 10 attack points because of how their signature abilities work. So Dead Heat has none of that. She doesn't have ways to increase her attack, and the fact that she needs to be below 25% health really hinders her ability. She has like a neat way to get meter, but this is kind of sad in comparison to like Toad Warrior, which is a Silver Cerebella that can gain meter just by being near the opponent. Like, you compare that and Dead Heat feels so weak. So I think one of the features that I would retain with Dead Heat is her ability to make blockbusters and special moves unblockable, because I think that's a unique kit for Dead Heat. And the meter is quite nice, but I would be happy if there's another way to gain meter that doesn't require the opponent to have a fully charged blockbuster. Like, this is really sad. You can only gain meter when the opponent can kill you. So Dead Heat is very outdated. Let's see what Awesome's idea is to fix this variant. Worm moves have a 10% chance to be unblockable while hitting a blocking opponent, and this chance is increased by 5% for every worm charge Squigly has. Okay, so she still retains the unblockable, but it transfers to worm moves instead. And I'm guessing this is specific special moves like Silver Cord, Dragon Bite, and maybe the Blockbuster Dragon Drop as well, perhaps. 10% is really low, but it can be increased 20% when she's fully charged. This is definitely better than her old first signature ability because she doesn't have that health threshold anymore. What's her second one? If neither you or your opponent has a fully charged blockbuster, gain 5% blockbuster meter per second. Okay, so it's definitely a huge improvement to her original kit. I think it stays quite loyal to her original design, which is really nice. I doubt this ability would make her any viable than she already is. I don't know, I think the first signature ability could still be a bit stronger. Honestly, why don't she just inflict guard break instead? I'm okay with this change though. Let us read the explanation. Considering that she's the first variant that introduced unblockable mechanic to the game, Dead Heat gets the flag for being underwhelming Silver Squigly and a second-rate Toad Warrior. These changes are made to keep her on par with mid-tier Silvers to make her interesting to use while not being bonkers. She will now function as a hybrid of defense and offense to screw the blocking fighter from letting her do her job. She still lacks the attack stat to make her useful. So overall, I quite like this change. But yeah, the first signature ability I think could definitely be a bit stronger. Next we have Lovecrafted. Oh, is this a nerf? Because Lovecrafted is pretty nutty. I think she's one of like the best natural diamonds you can get, because she has easy access to heavy bleed while also preventing your opponent from using blockbusters just by being near her. She has a pretty insane kit. While near an opponent, disable blockbusters and inflict heal block for 1 second. And the new signature ability is... Okay, so it's just a slightly longer duration. Disable a blockbuster and inflict heal block after 3 seconds instead of 1. It's an increase of 2 seconds, and I think this is completely fine. Lovecrafted is still very, very strong even with this change. She wasn't really used that much defensively anyway. Ever since the Natural Diamonds update, she was considered the best variant in the entire game due to her disable blockbuster after 1 second passed, which proved to be incredibly annoying for players who are forced to use special moves on a non-special based variant. These changes won't ruin her selling point, but it gives most variants a fighting chance to fight back this. Okay, this is definitely a buff to her defensively, more so than offensively, because offensively you usually don't care. But defensively, Lovecrafted isn't, as I said, used that much anyway, so yeah, it's a nice nerf. It's okay. Probably has very little impact though. Okay, so that's the two Squigglies that Awsome had ideas for their new signature abilities, and we're moving on to Beowulf. Okay, Wolf's Bane. Oh, okay. Throws have a 50% chance to inflict cripple and heal block for 10 seconds. Wolf's Bane was a pretty good gold fighter back in the day, but as more variants are released, especially Beast King, his use has been very, very minimal. Like, there's really no point in using Wolf's Bane. He can deal some insane damage because of his high attack stat and the fact that his second signature ability gains like bonus damage, and the first signature ability, the throw, inflicts cripple and heal block. Heal block is nice to prevent any healing shenanigans from ICU Valentines, but cripple here is questionable. Like, why do you want to inflict cripple when you're on the offense, right? And cripple doesn't do anything offensively. I think this would have been much better if it was armor break instead. Combination of armor break and heal block already makes him like pretty good, has a pretty useful niche, and can definitely be used in Rift as well. I think that's my only problem with Wolf's Bane. He's a very simple variant, and I think he could do just slightly a bit more. New signature ability, throws out fish. Okay, so yeah, this is exactly what I just said. So Awsome had the same idea of changing cripple to armor break because it just makes more sense. Wolf's Bane, while being no slouch of an offensive fighter, really lackluster compared to his successor Beast King. These change what makes him no different from Beast King, makes him relevant to nowadays meta, and having a better job of dispatching his foes before getting any chance to retaliate. So yeah, this is completely the same thing I had in mind. Beast King still throws Wolf's Bane out of the water, but having armor break and heal block is quite a useful niche for him to have, and I will fully like this if this change happened. It'll make Wolf's Bane definitely significantly better. Next, Freedom Fighter. Okay. While below 50% health, inflict cripple and armor break for 10 seconds each when blocking any normal hit. See, why does Freedom Fighter get the armor break instead? Like, Freedom Fighter is mostly a defensive fighter, and you don't really need armor break. This is such a weird fighter. And I think the problem with Freedom Fighter is that he does have a health threshold, which is annoying, because I don't think this requires a health threshold at all, just to be inflicted with cripple and armor break. Cripple is nice defensively, but armor break is quite useless, and it blocks any normal hit. So it depends on the opponent making mistakes, which is fine for a concept. But yeah, I think you should just remove the health threshold, and I think that would have made him so much better. His second signature ability stuns the opponent when he blocks a successful blockbuster and special move, which is quite powerful. So I think that's fine. But yeah, the first signature ability, get rid of the health threshold, and I think we're all good. And maybe change armor break to some other debuff that's more useful as well. Inflict cripple, armor break, and guard break for 10 seconds each after a well-timed block. Ooh, wow. So he keeps the cripple and armor break, but is now able to inflict guard break. And the clause is changed from blocking any normal hit under a health threshold into a well-timed block. I think gameplay-wise, it's still pretty much the same. But the interesting bit is that this, a well-timed block, means you can actually use Freedom Fighter offensively now, which is quite nice. Do you want to use him offensively though? It's definitely better if you use offensively to inflict armor break and guard break, but it feels a bit similar to Hack and Splash if I'm being honest. I think Hack and Splash inflicts cripple and armor break as well after a well-timed block. Let me check. So yeah, a well-timed block against standard attacks grant 5-6 precision and inflicts cripple and armor break for 10 seconds. But so yeah, this is, I think it's a bit too similar to Hack and Splash. I think the clause of when blocking any normal hit is fine. I would personally get rid of the health threshold, change armor break to guard break, because I think that's a pretty cool idea. And yeah, that's it. That's the two changes I would make. I feel like it's too similar to Hack and Splash. Freedom Fighter was seen as a somewhat safe to use. He had very annoying conditions to trigger his signature ability, and at that time, AI weren't fixated on using special moves, though it did take Rift Update to make him relevant by blocking any blockbuster and special moves, so he could get more openings. It doesn't do much. Yeah, true. This change in health percentage does keep up the theme of Captain America of counterattacks, so a well-timed block will leave the opponent more vulnerable to damage and can't deal that much damage to him. Better take this guy for a good spin on how to do a well-timed block. Yeah, so overall, I like the guard break, I like the cripple, but I prefer the old clause of just blocking any normal hit. That's just my personal opinion. Next one, and I think it's the final one. Yep, it's the final one for this video. So Darkmight. Damage is increased by 50% for each teammate defeated. Level 3 blockbusters have a 35% chance to instantly defeat enemies if Beowulf has less than 50% health. Again, it's a health threshold, but he is meant to be used defensively, and it's a level 3 blockbuster activation as well, so I think that's fine. Damage is increased by 50% for each teammate defeated. It sucks that he needs dead teammates to get that damage. It fits thematically because, you know, he's Batman and all. What would I change? Here's the thing. Usually when you're fighting an opponent in Rift or something, and they use a level 3 blockbuster, most of the time, if you're fighting against a diamond tier base, for example, as well, a level 3 blockbuster will kill you anyway, so this second signature ability is kind of useless. And the first signature ability can also be useless if you just kill him first, right? So there's just a lot of ways to counter Darkmight very, very easily. And yeah, he just needs something different, I think. The instantly defeating enemies part is kind of cool to be used offensively, and I think that could be a good niche. If it wants to be used offensively, then this 50% health threshold needs to go. The damage increase for each teammate defeated is also, I don't know. I think it needs to be changed into something else. But yeah, let's see what Awsome thinks. Damage is increased by 100% after falling to 75% health. Beowulf also gains permanent precision and haste. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I like that change very much. Yeah, that's a good change. So making the health threshold into his damage increase instead. I like that. Tier 3 blockbusters have 35% chance to instantly defeat enemies and prevent them from reviving if Beowulf has less than 50% health. Chances are doubled if tier 3 blockbusters were performed while hype. Okay, that's quite a lot to take in. So it's still the same signature ability, but it prevents them from reviving in addition. Also, the chances of this are doubled if they were performed while hype. It doesn't change his problem, which is that if you're using him defensively, if he gets to use a tier 3 blockbusters, even without the second signature ability, you're usually dead anyway. The preventing them from reviving is quite a nice clause though, I do like that. I do like the fact that something happens when he is hyped. I low-key wished it has some synergy with the Beowulf Catalyst, which is after 30 seconds have passed an H match, Beowulf gains permanent immunity and haste. So I don't think he needs this haste, because if you're using Darkmight as a defensive anyway, you will definitely use that Catalyst most likely. So if he just gains permanent precision, and feels like something's missing. It feels like it needs 2 buffs. Precision is definitely powerful, but I think that should be like a niche specifically to Dragon Brawler, honestly. Okay, so let's see what he could possibly get. I guess haste makes the most sense. Unflinching, ooh. What if you get permanent unflinching? Is that crazy? Yeah, what if it was like damage is increased by 100% after falling to 75% health, and Beowulf gains permanent unflinching. Combine that with a do or die catalyst, which gives immunity and haste, and you got a fighter that's immune to debuffs, has a supercharged blockbuster, and is also unflinching. That might be a bit too much, I don't know. I do like the idea. Okay, so let's read this. For years, Darkmight was considered one of the weaker natural diamonds due to his very demanding signature ability, which requires the death of teammates in order to stomp his enemies. Sure enough, he did change his second part of his signature ability to be less than of his half health, but even that wouldn't cut it. These changes would make him scream, "Last gate dangerous," which is a Batman reference by the way, after losing at least 25% of his health, to show us his enemy that they were messing with the wrong guy, and finally topping it off with a double chance of insta-kill on tier 3 blockbuster if he was hyped. Yeah, I don't know, if we're going with the first signature ability, where he gains a damage increase just by falling to 75% health, I think this needs to change a bit. If you get hit with a tier 3 blockbuster with 100% bonus damage, you're pretty much gonna die anyway. So I think the instantly defeating enemies and the chances are doubled is kind of redundant. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on this. I think his concept has a very inherent flaw. Okay, so I guess this is enough for this video. There is still more, as you see here from the list. There's Cerebella, Parasol, Peacock, and Misfortune, and we will cover those in the next upcoming videos. I just want to give a huge shout out to Awsome for making this document and for sharing it with me as well, but I would like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below whether you agree with these new signature abilities here, or whether you have ideas of your own that you would like me to look at. But that is all for me now. If you like this kind of content, be sure to give a like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button to get notified when the next one is uploaded. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.